Good, thank you. Thank you.
I was ordained to the priesthood October 2nd, 1976, here in Springfield at St. Anthony Parish, and was assigned for my first assignment for 2 years in Fall River at St. Anthony of the Desert with Monsignor Norman Ferris. And they were 2 very formative years. He was a great mentor for the beginning years for me. And then I was transferred to Flint, Michigan, when we were still one eparchy at the time. And so in Flint, I was there 4 years. Our Lady of Lebanon Parish, wonderful people. And then was transferred to Brockton, St. Teresa, for 15 years. And after that, was sent to Waterbury, which was my birthplace, Waterbury, Connecticut. Our Lady of Lebanon Church was there then, and was there for 10 years. And finally, my last assignment was at St. Anthony Parish here in Springfield, and I was there 3 years before I had to go on medical leave, which ultimately ended in early retirement. Along the way, I was elevated to Monsignor. I was very surprised by this, by the way. Archbishop Zayek, at a meeting of the Presbyteral Council, gave me a file folder and said, "Here, read this and tell me if you accept." I opened it up and it was all in Latin. I figured out, I said, "Oh my gosh, she made me something, not quite sure what." And that's when he made me, he asked me if I accepted being chaplain to His Holiness Pope John Paul II. And I said, "Thank you." And so the ceremony was in Brockton. I was in Brockton at the time. Throughout the years, I worked with youth ministry a significant amount of time. I was, from the very beginning, actually, within the first couple of years, when I was in Flint, Monsignor Ron Bashir was running the program for the youth, and I joined up with him, just working as one of the advisors and so forth. But then it continued on. Monsignor Michael Kale took over, and Monsignor Jim Root and I were ultimately became co-founders of the young adult section of the youth program. While I served as pastor in Brockton, I quickly became involved with social justice things. I saw the neighborhood we were living in was so poor, and kids going to school in thin little jackets in the dead of winter. I said, we've got to reach out and find ways to get things to these kids. There was a push to bring a neighborhood health center into the city. Many people in city government didn't want it and thought it was going to be a detriment to the city. So I was on the founding board, and we finally got it approved and built and authorized and so forth. So it was a good time in terms of reaching out to the community and its needs, and because the health center was for the underserved, for those who may or may not have had a little bit of insurance and so forth, and provide them with health care that they would need. So I've been ordained to the priesthood for 49 years, and the journey began, actually, I was in parochial school and elementary school. By the time I graduated from high school, I was not considering priesthood at all. It was the farthest thing from my mind, actually. But in my second year of college, I came home at Christmas time and told my parents, I think I want to be a dentist. and I went back to school to change my major. Something happened. I was not sure I wanted to be a dentist, so I went to Mass that night. They had 10 o'clock Masses, and in that experience, it was like the doors opened up and rushed in was this thought of priesthood. The two people most important in my formation before I went into seminary was Sister Annie Wibby, who was living in a convent just off the campus of Fairfield University, where I was studying, and Father Mack, I called him, who was one of the Jesuits in the university and the resident priest on the floor. And between the two of them, I would pose questions, or they would actually challenge me. They were very tough with their questions, which was good, and made me think and gave me a lot to pray about.
Lord, listen to our voices, hear the prayers we raise.
My father was Melkite, my mother was Maronite, and but Dad would make sure that we understood what we were and who we were, and that we had both liturgical traditions in our background. So whenever visiting priest would come, and of the two most often were Monsignor Lahoud and Monsignor Hatoum for the Melkites. And between the two of them, they would celebrate liturgy at the club, at the Lebanese club in Waterbury. And so that gave us an attachment to our ritual traditions, which was fantastic. My dad said, beyond the food and beyond the dupkis and beyond all that, this is who you are, and I want you to know who you are. And that's how that part of the journey began. So when I came home that same year that I told my parents I wanted to be a dentist, I came home at Easter and said, I'd like to be a priest. They were shocked. And my father said, well, what kind? Because you were raised in the Latin Church for 8-10 years, and then we came here to Springfield, so we attend the Maronite Church. But you're Melkite. And I looked at him. I said, I've thought about it and prayed about it. But I said, Dad, I want to be a Maronite Rite priest. And he looked a little disappointed. I thought for sure he wanted to be a Melkite priest. But he said, no, I want you to be a Roman Rite priest. I said, why? He said, so you won't go far from home.
This picture my mother had enlarged, and it's me celebrating my first liturgy. And that's the vestment she surprised me with. She said, she gave it to me, she said, the day before my ordination, and she said, this is from your mother on earth and none of your heaven.
So the biggest changes really are in the Maronite Church in the United States are twofold: the liturgy itself and liturgical music. First, the liturgy, we had this little book, blue book, I think it was. And that's what we could find would follow within the liturgy. And it seemed to be a little bit of patchwork, but it was all that we had. And as time went on and the evolution of the liturgy took place, bringing in the old and rich traditions and ceremonies, as they were printed in the books, they gave us something solid from which we could pray and teach. They were a great source of teaching for the community. The next phase of that, which I found was wanting for so long after the books were produced, is music. We needed the music. We needed it in English, and we needed it in Arabic, and we needed it in Syriac, but we needed the music. And that, I mean, I love to sing, and that was a big thing for me. You'd look in the liturgy and you see the colo. It's supposed to be a hymn. How do you sing it? And it left me wanting for so long, because the richness of what it said was so powerful, and without music, with music, I thought it would be that much more dynamic in our lives.
O light from light, Christ our Savior.
The houses of worship that we have are so varied, and that's okay to a degree, but they are not constructed to proclaim our tradition, our liturgical tradition. If I can walk into a Maronite church and it looks like any Roman Rite church, then why would I pass 6 Roman Rite churches on my way to church Sunday morning? We all need to have a visual of what the church proclaims is its tradition and faith. We are the church, the people of God. There's no question about that. Yet the building reflects who we are, should reflect who we are, and call us to pray even more fully in our tradition.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
The challenges that the Maronite Church faces in this country, things that come to mind first is, how do we maintain our growth outside of Lebanon, outside of the patriarchal area, because we are challenged by so many things. We are challenged by language, we are challenged by culture, and it all makes it for difficult to survive. And I hate using the word survive. I think, and I don't use the word preserve. I don't believe in preserve. You preserve pickles, but that's what I think of. It's time to, how do we help our church grow?
How my soul thirsts and is yearning.
One person said to me in a parish, Abuna, you're having us sing both in one verse in Arabic and one verse in English, and we go back and forth. And they said, it's like a battle. I said, actually, I look at it as a service. They said, what do you mean? I said, we have both. People who speak fluent Arabic, people who do not and only speak English. We are here to minister to all of them. And the only way we can do that is to make them identify with what we are doing. So we sing one language and we sing in another language. We go back and forth. It's not a battle. It's the beauty of who we are, and expresses who we are as a community.
يا سلطانة الجبال.
My legacy would be that I loved my people and cared for them, that I was there by their side in their good times and in their bad times, and that I was able to rise above whatever hurts or disappointments that I may have had, for the sake of the community and the betterment of the community, and be a light to them that shines in some simple, humble way the life of Christ. There's a prayer that I pray every day. It's very brief, and I've been sharing with a lot of people recently. And it's very simply, but it's a great way to begin the day. Lord, may my life be a symbol or sign of your love. If I start my day and live my day being a sign of Christ's love, then that's all I can ever ask. I think that's what he asks of me as a priest. Somebody said that Christians are asked to carry their cross, but a priest is asked to go out and search for the cross. That's what we do. We search for the cross, and we live the love that it possesses and that it shows and is a grand symbol of God's presence. My dear Maronite brothers and sisters, you are a blessing to the church. Live that blessing with all the strength that you can. Give your love and service in the name of Christ to our people. Our world needs it. Our people need it. And it will be a wonderful blessing and grace for our world if you do so.
Thank you.